Mars.
So,
Yes.
Senor Joe,
Yes.
why the fuck are we here?
It's a great question.
That's what I woke up this morning wondering.
Yes.
So yeah, talk us through.
We are here today on our second day of the most exotic recce that's ever existed. I'm at the end of doing a master's degree in screenwriting, and I am often reminded I sound like a right wanker at the moment. But I have written this quite, what on paper when you describe it, people could sound like quite an esoteric, arty idea. We've got this mute protagonist and she goes to an island to get away from everyone, and not a lot happens, but everything happens. And my tutor, who's a brilliant writer and teacher called John Finnegan, was like, oh man, that sounds fucking boring. And I said, it's all right, because I'm going to write it like an action movie. And I used the specific, like, this is how to write Die Hard sequence of 15-beat story map. But instead of a helicopter exploding on page 32 as a turning point for this, that, the other, it's like she refuses a cup of tea or makes a cup of tea for this person. So they're big events in her story, but I followed the exact same graph. And this is exactly that. And in the 15-beat story map, this is called All Hope is Lost. All I care about is making sure the audience asks questions, really. That's it. I'll shut up now. Also, the fact that this place is an active volcano is not an accident for us. It's like, you know, I started anger management 12 years ago, and I still do it, but I did a year of solid anger management, saved my life, literally. And so lava and things going to explode is all apposite and good. This is towards the end of the film, the sort of all is lost moment where Anne takes a long, angry walk. That's all she knows she's doing, is she's just walking. She has no destination in mind, and the world runs out on that cliff over there. And she doesn't mean to, but she accidentally sends the ashes flying. And yeah, so it's that. It's a very important all is losty moment. There's a lot of ambiguity. Who is in the ashes box? Who is this? What is her problem? What is his? There's enough. There's a narrative. A woman seeking peace can't find it. Turns out she needs something else. But everyone seems to be able to project their stuff onto it, and that to me is useful.
Yeah.
It's in that scrub. Yeah, the feet going past is beautiful. I'm learning about how to write films. I don't know how to make them, really. Elliot knows more about that stuff than me and about editing, so I'm literally we are sort of storyboarding in conversations. That's it. I love that. Just really happy with that. Yeah. Sarah Jane Potts, my wife, her short film The Magician, to me, is one of the great short films I've ever seen. And partly the silence. There's just music and sound. There's no dialogue at all. And people talk too much. This one, especially. And when people don't talk, we're allowed to invest in them and make thought, have our own connection. And then, would you, this is it, but we will need something that way. I don't want to scare you.
I was just thinking.
Oh, you maybe that. That's what we want to do.
I mean, do you want to see
No,
that?
don't worry. I trust you implicitly, but I'm always happy to watch myself in a movie.
I mean, handheld was quite nice. We could do it.
Oh my God, it's brilliant.
It might actually be nice to do it like that.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, with just a cutaway of the details we need. Oh, it's a weird kind of happiness, this. It's like an addiction. It's like licking an ulcer. It's, isn't it? It's, filmy happiness is just ridiculous. It's like making camps and dens when you're a kid. And 30 years of being the Ponzi actor in this business, I've always appreciated crews. I've always loved and been interested in what they're doing, but actually, I didn't realise they were having more fun than me. That's what it feels like. It's like, oh. And we're here working it all out with Elliot here, who is our DOP, everything man. He's also my nephew. It's a family enterprise. And this story is just opening up. It's integral to the film that these two hurt and damaged and beautiful people from England, various bits of England, neither of whom has much money, for different reasons come somewhere away. They want to get away for their own reasons. And this is a film called Signs of Life, and kind of the completion of a trilogy of films about connection and kindness, and that sometimes in life all you need is the outstretched hand. I was talking to my mum, who is awesome and is going to be our catering department. And we were talking about stuff. I said, you know, we've got to find some ashes out here. We need to find something that looks like ashes. And my grandmother was like my third parent, my mum's mum. And she died a year and a bit ago. And my mum said, she'd love to be in your film. So only in the close-up bit, we will be having my grandma, Elliot's great-grandma, Gra, as we called her, will be in the film. And possibly a bit of Sarah Jane's dad. She said, I've got a bit left of dad as well, maybe we'll... So we're gonna like add those little weird elements to it. Right. I can't get into my lolly. This is where she'll be. Which is that? I mean, that's poster worthy, isn't it? That is going to be a poster, that, I tell you. That might be it, we'll see. I am going through the B-roll. We've decided this is the bench. Seven and 8, the first time we see this bench. Exterior, promenade, dusk. Anne is distracted by a man jogging past. Only now it's going to be out of her peripheral vision. She's distracted by a man stepping out onto there. He wears workout gear, which looks brand new, sunglasses, headphones, bum bag, headband. He carries a handheld runner's water bottle. The man sort of arrives in her peripheral vision, doing stretches. He then does a set of tricep dips. He looks exhausted and hot. Anne watches him in the way you might watch an animal in a zoo. The man sits down here to drink from his bottle. He removes his sunglasses, at which point Anne recognises him. She adjusts her position so as to be less visible. We've worked this out. It's going to be about her putting the shades on and just turning away, then looking back. Bill finishes his water, and without even looking at the sea or any of the beauty around him, he gets his phone out, he taps, scrolls, reads, then taps, scrolls, reads. He looks angry, he laughs bitterly, then immediately sets himself up for a selfie, smiling hugely in front of the sea. like he's really happy. He checks the picture, sends it somewhere. The smile drops from his face. Anne is looking at all this. A crushing sadness takes its place. Bill holds his face in his hands. He looks like he might be crying suddenly. Anne is watching all this. It's a private moment, but Anne can't look away. After a minute, Bill removes his hands from his face, or whatever the actor does. He takes a couple of deep breaths, puts his sunglasses back on, and without noticing her, he heads away. So the other character is a Tigger and a talker. I think it's a great bounce off this silent protagonist who is going in a lot. Even though she's watching, she doesn't want interaction. And then you've got the guy who comes and goes, "Hi, you were off my plane. I think we met on the plane. Were you on my plane?" It's like a great conflict of personalities. Anne watches him go and then returns her gaze to the sun setting down on the horizon. So that's the first 2 pages. I'm heading back to the bench. And that bit is, like we said, where she clocks him, she sees it's him, and she's like, oh shit, sunglasses on, move away. Yeah, but then she can't stop looking. So it's like that, you know? It's like, I don't want to see that guy from the plane, but what the fuck is he doing? What is he doing? It's like that. I'll show the actor and they'll be amazed at my brilliant ideas. So, the most important scene in the film for me is a tiny scene in the garden of a villa where they just are in each other's company. Her one side of the pool, him the other, and everywhere he's gone with other humans lately, it's gone wrong. It's just gone wrong. But here he is sharing space with someone, it's going okay. And for her, she's allowed this guy into 10 feet away, though he may be, it's okay. And that weirdly for me is like, you know, I said I used this writing process that was like an action movie, but that scene is weirdly like a big scene in my not action movie.
But is there something of you in the male protagonist?
For sure, because I did a short film called Care, but he was a carer for the elderly who was caught up in a cycle of anger, and he found his connection and release through actually focusing on the man he was caring for and stopped thinking about himself and his own worries and stress, and actually really tuned in to this old man and found his day got better. You know, it's as simple as that. I worked as a carer for quite a long time, and I found no matter what shit was going on in my day, by the end of the day, hard graft though caring for the elderly is, and it really is. You're changing catheters and wiping asses and, you know, but by the end of the day, I had stopped thinking about myself a bit, and you feel better. Simple as that, really. And that's what all our film seems to be about, Sarah Jane and I, really. It's about people listening and allowing room for other people and connection. And I was discussing earlier today with you that when people are talking, they're not listening. And if she is a great witness for someone, it only adds to that. But also, she has been frozen by grief, we don't know what for, and depression and whatever. And she does in this film try to speak. She tries to say goodbye to whoever the ashes are. And she wants to honour them by speaking when she lets them go, but it doesn't come, and then it's forced out in the location we're about to show you. When anger releases, it's like another part of my thing about anger management that I have done in my own life and I'm really interested in. Anger management is the word, it's not anger eradication. Anger is a thing you'll never not have. Anger is there. You're going to be happy, you're going to be sad, you're going to be angry, you're going to be afraid. It's just about not letting the tail wag the dog, and anger management. And for a lot of people it does, it controls them. But it has uses. Used properly, anger can unlock things. There is safe ways to vent anger, you know. And for her in this story, actually, it's what lets the grief out. And she's a little cleaner and a little lighter after it's popped out, so.
Hang out our banners on the outward walls. The cry is still that they come. Our castle's strength will laugh, a siege to scorn. Here let them lie, till famine and the ague eat them up. What is that noise?
It is the cry of women, my good lord.
I am a bit of a Tigger and an optimist and a gregarious kind of person, although I have shy moments, but it's really interesting. I chose a job where I speak in front of strangers and pretend to... My anger management guru, the boss, the guy who literally wrote the book on anger management, Mike Fisher, wonderful man, he said to me, he was like, he doesn't like actors. I mean, we get on fine, but he's like, oh, I hate actors. And he said, so let me, after he knew all about my life, and I'd really explain, he knew me well, after like 6 sessions, he was like, okay, he said, let me get this straight. So, as I understand it, you literally are at your most comfortable on planet Earth when you are standing in front of 10,000 strangers, or 1,000 strangers, pretending to be someone else and saying other people's words. That's when you relax. I went, yeah, that's my safe place.
Time has been my senses would have cooled to hear a night shriek, and my fell of hair would at a dismal treatise rouse and stir as life were in't. I have supped full with horrors. Direness, familiar to my slaughterous thoughts, cannot once start me. Wherefore was that cry?
The Queen, my lord, is dead.
And then he said, you know, and you actors, busy actors, being out of work actors is one thing. If you are lucky and cursed enough to work a lot as an actor, especially theatre, you're going through epic shit. It might not be real, but your body doesn't know that. Here's a dead baby. Kind of, your body goes, well, that's a lot like holding a dead baby. It happens, your imagination goes.
She should have died hereafter. There would have been a time for such a word. Tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day to the last syllable of recorded time, and all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death out. Brief candle.
And he said it's a bit like Crocodile Dundee. He said, have you ever seen Crocodile Dundee? Because I was wondering why my relationships were all falling apart. And he said, remember the scene in Crocodile Dundee where they get mugged? He's with a girlfriend and 2 muggers with a knife go, give us your wallet. And she says, give them your money, they've got a knife. And he goes, that's not a knife, this is a knife. And he gets this massive knife out. And he said, that's kind of like you with arguments. It's like, this isn't a domestic argument. And you pull out Ibsen and, Medea, and you pull out Hamlet. And everything's massive.
Life's but a walking shadow. A poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
And unless it's massive, it doesn't feel real to you. And I'm like, oh yeah. So weirdly, this whole process, I found myself really loving writing. I wrote a book about myself, which is a weird thing to do, but it made me go, oh my God, I'm an idiot. And I'm like, I still appreciate the value in people watching incredible dramatic scenes. It's got to be done, but I am less inclined to be the one going through that storm, I think. I am so comfortable getting behind the camera and being the watcher and despite me talking this much to you now, I'm getting so much more interested in being the watcher and the listener professionally. Hopefully that's going to morph into my own life as well. I'd like that. I'm sure my wife would.
So all things.
And my headphones as well.
Okay. So Elliot is just going to put the 200mm on, look at me pretending I know what lenses are, and get a few shots of people doing stuff in a holiday area. There's bits of the script that just say like, the island is coming to life, tourists are doing their thing. And actually, you know, it's the kind of stuff that if we just wait until next year, we could forget about. So we are doing these little snatches of B-roll, collecting a little bag of flowers. We don't know when we're going to use them. Low budget, micro budget filmmaking 101. If you're a student, bring your student card with you everywhere. And it's a student film we're making. That's what the story is. And we are now going to go and get permission from this incredible gyrating man and woman, which I thought wasn't germane to the film, but actually could be. It's a man and a woman dancing around each other and doing things. So we'll see. They might say, bugger off. Who knows? Excuse me. You guys are amazing. I don't want to interrupt because you're so amazing, but I'm making a student film about amazing things on this island. Would you mind us filming you? There's 2 cameras. I'm at a film school and we're doing, and it's becoming about connection and love and people.
That's fine.
You know,
That's very,
yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, exactly. Would you mind? We are so grateful. I can't even tell you. Thank you so much. This is not a commissioned film. This doesn't have any investors breathing down our neck. You don't have to tick any boxes or please anyone. We just keep people wanting to know what happens next. That's your only objective. Yeah. And our company objective, we still don't know what we're called. We think we're Mill Potts Productions, but who knows? We like to make films that leave people feeling a little better than they did before they watched them. That's sort of our objective. And that doesn't mean they have to be happy endings. They just leave people feeling a bit more nourished than they did before.